When I first arrived in Hanoi, I definitely had a bit of culture shock from the traffic. Of course, I knew going in that crossing the street can be really difficult and scary, and the strategy you have to use is to just keep walking in a steady pace while mopeds just whip by around you. But the thing that threw me off the most was that we actually had to do a lot of our walking on the road. There are sidewalks, but they were often taken up by restaurant and cafe seating, shops, and parking for scooters. The other big culture shock was the humidity. I felt really hot every day, especially at first because I just had to acclimate. But weirdly, I felt like my hair has never looked better. So maybe I just need to move somewhere humid. One of the first places we visited is Tran Ngoc Temple. This is a really popular place on social media for people to take pictures at sunset. I think because it's sort of on an island in the lake and you can get some really nice views. I was there just in the middle of the day, but I still think it was beautiful. This temple is over 1,500 years old and actually used to be in a different location but had to be moved in the 1600s due to erosion. I found it really peaceful and I thought it was nice to have a place like this just in the middle of a big city. We also saw another temple close by on a teeny little island, so we checked that out too. We stayed here just listening and watching the birds, and I'm not sure exactly what type of birds they are, but if you know, let me know in the comments. This is the Ngoc Son Temple, which is a short walk away on a smaller lake. It started raining lightly while we were walking here, which felt really nice and refreshing. It seems like this is a popular spot for Vietnamese to practice English with tourists since it's a tourist hotspot. When I was there was a middle school class that came and asked to practice English with us, which was kind of fun. And when I looked it up later, it turns out it is just a common place for that, which I think is kind of nice. Hanoi has really cool cafe culture with a cafe on every corner, and each of them definitely have their own feel and vibe. One of my favorite things while we were here was just popping into whatever cafe we were closest to, and we were never disappointed. Hanoi is known for their egg coffee, which is really rich and creamy, and I felt like every cafe we tried actually made it a little differently. This is Hanoi's famous train street, where you can drink a coffee steps away from the train track. The shops will even have chairs and signs out on the tracks that they have to move in whenever a train is scheduled to go by. This track has actually been here for a really long time, more than 100 years, but has only more recently become such a big tourist destination. And I really think it's cool how something like this can become a tourist destination so organically, with people visiting and just noticing something interesting. And that's all it took to make this a famous place. While I was there, I was also really curious about what those trains were that were passing by and how you could get on one. And it turns out the train we had booked to leave Hanoi was actually using those tracks, so we ended up getting to see the train street from both perspectives. While in Hanoi, we went on an overnight cruise to Ha Long Bay. On our way there, it started raining pretty badly, and I was kind of worried our cruise might get canceled because of the weather, but there ended up being no issue in the end. Ha Long Bay is a beautiful bay full of these volcanic islands. Ha Long means descending dragon. I originally assumed that the name was because the islands looked like the back of the dragon, but that's not the case. According to the legend, Vietnam was defending against invaders in the Ha Long Bay area, and to help protect the country, a family of dragons came down from the heavens to help in the battle. The dragons spat out lots of jewels, which then became the islands of the bay, helping to block off the invaders. Afterwards, the dragons liked Earth and decided to stay and continue living in this bay. It was really hot on the boat, but the wind felt really nice when we were out on the deck, especially when the boat was moving, and I felt like I was an adventurer on a voyage. While here, we stopped on an island with a beach and a hike. I was expecting what I consider to be a hike, but it turns out it was actually just stone steps all the way up. I think a lot of hikes in Asia are actually like this, very groomed trails and stairs, rather than being more rustic, which is what I was used to. Either way, it was still hard work because it was a lot of stairs, but with a beautiful view once we got to the top. We also went kayaking, which was really fun, and it was really great considering how hot I was to be able to splash some water on myself. I brought a GoPro and I was trying to use it to record some first-person shots while I was kayaking, but my life jacket kept getting in the way, so I just kept getting these kinds of shots. It was really nice to be on the water. It definitely helped to cool me down, and it was just really beautiful seeing the rocks tower above me, especially since the kayak is so low to the water compared to the ship that we were on most of the time. It really gave me more perspective to the beauty of these islands. At night, we got to watch the sunset, and the bay became really tranquil with all the boats anchoring down for the night. Finally, in the morning before heading back, we went to this cave. The cave was also quite a ways up, so lots more stairs, and there was a nice view from there too. A nice bonus too is that it's actually a few degrees colder in the cave than outside, so we got to have a nice little reprieve from the heat. The structures in the cave are really interesting, and I found it hard to believe that these all just developed naturally. It almost looked more like deliberate art that someone had made. The cicadas were so loud the entire time. I guess the noise was probably echoing around the bay and the islands too, amplifying it. I didn't notice it at the time, but while editing this and listening to the videos, the volume is crazy. After the cruise, we hopped on an overnight train to Hue, which you should see in the next video. Overall, I really liked Hanoi. With its narrow streets and quaint stores, it somehow is able to be bustling yet cozy at the same time. It also didn't hurt that coffee was never far away. Thanks so much for watching.